the 49ers are putting their stamp that they are the best team defensively in the NFL. They have a bunch of guys who can win one-on-one. From a success rate standpoint, they are tops. DVOA, EPA per play, they're right around 5. But generating turnovers as of late has really put them over the hump. So I want to talk about today why they are the best. And I also want to point out a few plays that I noticed in the Saints game that I can see the next 3 opponents, especially Mike McDaniel coming up this week, trying to get over on them. So let's talk about that. And it's actually going to start with this very next play. So the Saints' next possession, they know that the 49ers are going to be in man coverage. Kyle Shanahan does a great job of this. Mike McDaniel does a great job of this. Most good offensive coordinators know how to manipulate your coverages. So knowing the 49ers are going to be in man coverage, as you can see across the board, Aziz is responsible for this running back coming out to this side. Fred Warner is free, as is Tayshaun Gibson. And then Dre Greenlaw and Deommodore Lenoir are responsible for these 2 tight ends. If I'm in man coverage and my guy right here blocks, as you can see, I have the option to green dog. What does that mean? Blitz. Green light, dog, green, dog, blitz. So they see that in the Saints, tight end. He's just going to hold it for what? 1, 2, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. Probably what he was taught. And then knowing that they're in man, there's nobody there for support. So just a really good way to manipulate it. And there's nothing that Greenlaw does wrong here. He's taught, hey, my guy's blocking. There's no other receiver in my vicinity. So I'm not going to waste space and just guard grass. I'm going to try to go put pressure on the quarterback. It doesn't work out. And this is an area that I would keep an eye on moving forward if I were the 49ers. All right, third downs. This team makes their hay on third down. So the coverage, the pass rush, they're in sync. They're usually on the same page. Let's watch this play here. Again, they're going to be in – it doesn't play out like man, but – sorry, it does play out like man. Warner, Jimmy Ward, Mooney Ward. And if you notice, Mooney actually loses sight of his guy, but it doesn't matter because Dalton's under pressure. And by the time he recovers, it's too late. Dalton doesn't see it, pull the trigger. Comes up short, but the coverage is there. And they're all pointing out. So let's watch from the back end because this is really where the play happens. The play is made, I should say. Dick Bosa, congrats, Defensive Player of the Month. Charles Omenihu, a player who's about to get paid a lot of money. Drake Jackson, slowly but surely coming along. Samson Ebukam back from a 2-game absence, I believe, and he was very good in this game. So it's a boss front. That means you have 3 defensive linemen on one side. You have 1 on the other. You're ensuring this guy right here gets a 1-on-1. Let's watch Samson Ebukam on this play. It's really tough to replicate an athlete like Samson Ebukam. So bet on athletes always. As you can see, that's a win for sure. You know how I know it's a win? When the quarterback and the left tackle are eye to eye, making eye contact, that is a win for the defensive line. All right, go to the other side. So these games that they run up front work because all 3 of these are just crazy athletes. Bosa's going to loop around, and he's going to push the pocket. Nowhere for Dalton to go. Drake Jackson's currently getting mugged right now. He has a hand on his face. This guy's just holding the hell out of him. Of course it's not called. And for all the times that people complain about Bosa getting held, each of these 3 get held equally as much. Nobody ever talks about it. But they push the pocket, force the quarterback to flee, and he comes up short. The 49ers are able to force a punt and get off the field. All right, here's another example of the Saints just manipulating what the 49ers wanted to do in coverage. So they're in a zone. They're running a 3-deep zone. Mooney Ward to the bottom of the screen has this third. Deommodore Lenoir has this third. And then Talanoa Hufanga, it's a weak rotation. So Tayshaun Gibson is right here. He's just going to be the robber lurker over the middle of the field looking for any crossing routes. And Talanoa Hufanga is the safety who's going to drop to the middle of the field. He is the post safety. So if I am attacking the 49ers defense, I want to attack the seams right down the middle here. So that's where I feel like they're most susceptible. And plays like these are why. So just a 3-deep zone, very simple. Mooney Ward, he's deep. Talanoa Funga is responsible for the middle of the field, so he's the post safety. Tayshaun Gibson, he's going to be the lurker, going to rob any routes coming over the middle. And then Diamolo Lenore, he's a corner to the top of the screen. He has the deep third as well. Okay, so the Saints have a good concept here. They're going to have Chris Olave. He's going to run up, fake like he's crossing the middle of the field, and then he's going to go up again. So it's a little double move. Talanoa Funga to the bottom of the screen here. He needs to do a better job of getting depth and getting over in between the goalposts to his vertical threat sooner. That does not happen, and I'm not sure why. So the reason I'm not sure why he doesn't do that, because if we're looking to the 3 receiver side, so it's empty. You have 2 over here. You have 3 over here. He just needs to respect the vertical threats. Vertical threat, Chris Olave. Jarvis Landry, not a vertical threat. Tight end, we will see. So let's see how those 3 routes play out. He's eliminating himself. If he's chipping, he's not a vertical threat. He eliminates himself. He just runs a one-step screen. So neither of these 2 are going vertical. I know Jarvis Landry's never going to get a vertical ball, right? So watch the safety as Landry is still gaining ground. So he's kind of stuck in mud right now, right? He needs to do a better job. Let's see where he starts. So Funga's on the 27-yard line right now, and by the time Dalton releases the ball, he's on the 34. So realistically, he should be, like, there shouldn't be this much of a difference between. So he's on the 30-yard line, and he's on the 34. He's got to be at least 5-7 yards deeper. And not even that, Hufanga should do a better job of getting this way more. So it looks like it's on Lenore because he gives up a big play, but that's on Hufanga. There's no real reason for him to stay on this side as long as he did. And again, in my opinion, like, the way that this play should work out is Hufanga and Lenore are converging on the pass. So Lenore actually does a pretty good job of, because he's never going to be able to make this play the way it's designed anyway, but they should be converging on the pass at the same time, and there should be a collision, and that should be a contested catch. Instead, it's not, and that's a big play. So that's another play that stood out to me where I can see other teams just trying to, circle it, point, how can I get over on this 49ers defense that gives up next to nothing? This is a play why. This is a play how. If you are a good defense, your best players win their one-on-ones. If you are a great defense, your role players, your backups, they win one-on-ones. The 49ers, so this is T.Y. McGill, defensive tackle who they just elevated from the practice squad. This is a tackle for loss, and he beats their starting left guard pretty soundly. And you got to love this celebration here. A little home run swing. The umpire ref has to dodge him, spins out of the way. But for real, the way that they are able to get the production out of seemingly whoever they put on the field on the defensive line is pretty insane. The 49ers are very blessed. Obviously, Chris Kosierka is very good at what he does, but there's no Eric Armstead right now. There's no Javon Kinlaw. They have been rotating a bunch of backups seemingly for the past 2 months, and that's 2 wins by your defense tackle. Your defense tackle, where's the ball? Snap. About 1 yard line, 2 yard line. They are 3 and 5 yards in the backfield by the time Alvin Kamara has the ball. Good luck. Like, what are you supposed to do against that? So, I mean, it just tells you how good they are up front and why that's going to be the difference in this next game. And it's probably most of the games down the stretch here. All right, here's another example of trying to get down the seam, because that's where the 49ers are susceptible. That's where they've been susceptible all season. Why it doesn't usually work, and why the 49ers safety play when they are deep can use more work. So, all right, let's watch the play itself out here. So it's a good coverage beater, zone beater. The Saints are going to run, and he's going to stop. Why? He's trying to hold the corner because Chris Olave is going to run a post here. And it essentially turns out to be one-on-one. Jimmy Ward does a great job on this play, by the way. It works out to be one-on-one. But again, vertical threats, right? There's no reason for him. So you hear a bunch of cliches. You will hear DB coaches say, the hash is your home. And he's staying on the hash. But look at, I got Jarvis Landry and Mooney Ward. They had Landry he couldn't do anything all game. By now, I should know that. And I'm not worried about Mooney Ward giving up a play against Jarvis Landry. So I know that this is my only vertical threat. If I am Tayshaun Gibson, I would like to see him get more depth, to the bottom of the screen. Instead, he's staying on the hash, and that leaves Ward one-on-one, who makes a really good play to contest that throw. But I'd love to see Gibson work his way closer, into the goalpost, off the hash. From the end zone view, why this play never works, why this play, I should say, rarely works, is because of ferocity of the 49ers pass rush. Having Samson Ebba come back was huge for them. Let's watch him on this play. So he is going to rush. He's going to have an inside rush. Watch what happens to the right guard on this play. There's no way to prepare for this all week. Nobody was that physical with him. You could tell if somebody were that physical, he would not be brushed back off contact like that. So huge hit right there. The 49ers actually hit Andy Dalton 4 times this game. They pressured him on 14 of his 30 attempts, which is pretty insane. Nearly half the time, Dalton was under pressure. And more often than not, they're rushing 4 guys. But when you're winning one-on-one as often as the 49ers do up front, that's why they're number 1 in the league in success rate. So in theory, it makes sense to attack the seams, but you better hope you can block them, because more often than not, you come up short. All right, so here is 3rd and 10. Saints are backed up in their own end zone. They're going to take, let's move this down. They're going to take a shot play to Chris Olave. It's pretty much just let's hope we get a pass interference, which they end up giving. I don't think this is a pass interference. I don't have any problem with what Lenore did. I mentioned how they hit Andy Dalton 4 times. It should have been 5 because Charles Omenihu does get a hit, but the play doesn't count here. But watch the top of the screen. I'm not sure what he does there. I am sure that the ref is essentially influenced by the Saints bench. Like, watch when he throws a flag. It was very late. Like, he would have thrown it much earlier. There was really no reason for him to throw it. Let's focus on Charles Omenihu right here, because this guy is going to make a lot of money next year, and hopefully it is with the 49ers. I know you probably hear this every year, whether it's, Arden Key. I forgot who's the guy. Kerry Hyder, duh. They brought back Kerry Hyder, but he's young. Like, he is still developing. We see what the growth has been in year 2 under Chris Kocurek. There are a lot of numbers out there. I generally gravitate toward win percentage and pressure rate. Charles Omenihu is 6th in the NFL among all defensive linemen with at least 250 snaps in win percentage. Charles Omenihu is 6th in pressure rate. Like, the guys ahead of him are named like Nick Bosa. They're all pro players. So he is giving them insane productivity, and he's actually even better when he's inside. So the reason that he's able to generate pressure as much as he does, watch how tight he comes. Gets a hit, but this play doesn't work if Omenihu takes the easy way out and goes wide. But he's such an athlete that he's able to come right off the butt of Drake Jackson, and he gets a hit. And then you see this angle. Like, where's the flag at? Right now, watch the hands. They're just hand fighting. They're both hand fighting. Is it because Lenore wraps his left arm around Olave? Olave has his right arm wrapped around Lenore. So where's the call? Is it because Lenore doesn't look back? Nope. There's his helmet. His helmet just turned around. You can't tell me that he wasn't influenced by the Saints bench. If this is on the 49ers sideline, I don't think this flag gets thrown. So it's a BS call in my opinion, and I am biased. I will say that because I don't feel like I would just let them play more often than not. But just not a good call, not a good spot in that play. But Omenihu, that was the real reason I wanted to show that play. He's an impressive player, and I really think the 49ers should do everything they can to keep him around. All right, another area that this defense, and most defenses, especially today with the type of coverages that are being ran, are slot fades. So the one play, this is the only snap that Samuel Womack was on the field, was against a slot fade. And naturally, he was targeted on his only snap. So D'Amico Ryans, 3rd down, what is he going to do? He's going to come after you. He's going to blitz. 49ers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players is what he's going to bring. So what does that mean? Somebody's free, somebody's open. And unfortunately for the Saints, that means Fred Warner gets a free run at Andy Dalton. I actually like the way this sets up for the 49ers. So the Saints are relying on Taysom Hill for whatever reason, but that just makes life easier on the defense, especially Tayshaun Gibson. So you have Samuel Mack. I think he should play. He can run. He can play the ball in the air. He has recovery speed. So watch his feet on this play. So many times you'll see DBs have really loud feet. Like they're a little too overreactive. Watch how quiet Lenoir's feet are. So to me, because he's jamming with his right arm, he's expecting the receiver or help to be inside. When you see this type of jam, this right jam, and the receiver go the other way, usually your hips are going to lock and you're not going to be athletic enough to turn. So there's a little stumble there because his hips do lock, but he's such a high-end athlete that by the second step, that's not normal to me. Like in my mind, this is a reason to play Samuel Womack. So by the second step, he's hip to hip, right? He's in phase with the wide receiver, and there's nowhere for the throw to go. I know that the throw was over his head. I know it was a poor throw, but man, he needs to play, in my opinion. I think that I'll show it on the next play. That's Lenoir has some athletic deficiencies that, long speed, change of direction that just aren't issues with Samuel Womack. And I don't know what's going on behind closed doors, but whenever 26 is on the field, good things seem to happen in coverage. So perhaps down the stretch, we'll see Womack on the field. All right, again, it's all about manipulating coverages. So they're in man-to-man coverage, 49ers. Man, 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 man. And how do you know it's man? Because there is a linebacker out here guarding a running back. That is clear as day that it's man coverage. What are the Saints going to do? They're going to get their wide receiver that they want one-on-one with the 49ers cornerback. And to me, this is where like a guy like Mike McDaniel is going to try to feast on the 49ers. I think that there's a good chance they target Lenoir 7, 8, 9, 10 times. So this is when I talk about like the athletic deficiencies, change of direction. This play is a pretty good example. It's not an easy route to cover either. So the Saints are going to run a little pivot route. And what that is he's going to run across the middle and he's going to stop right there and go right back out. And the reason I can tell that Lenoir just doesn't have the acceleration. So watch the angle that he takes. Most fast guys, like they're going to be downhill and they're going to run and tackle him this way. He knows that he's probably not going to be able to cut the receiver off. So Lenoir has to take an angle upfield and try to cut him off instead. And you'll see it from the end zone view. And this is third down. I mean, they're trying to get off the field. That's a big play. That can't happen. The change of direction here. There's a little hop when Lenoir is trying to get out of his break right there. That to me tells you that, I mean, I don't want to talk too down on him because he's a day 3 pick. He's put in a tough spot to begin with, the fact that he's playing in this game anyway. But you can just see that that's where opponents are going to try and pick on the 49ers. So, knowing that DeMeco Ryans wants to run as much man coverage as he does, it makes sense why they did sign Janoris Jenkins. I know it's just to the practice squad, but they got to get him up to speed. He is 34, so they got to see if he still has anything left in the tank. But it's going to be tough sledding for Lenoir over these next few weeks, considering the receivers that are on deck. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Mike Evans, DK Metcalf, Chris Godwin, Tyler Lockett. It's going to be tough. The discipline on this defense is about as good as you'll see at any level in football. It helps to have one of the most valuable players in football. So the play before, the 49ers asked Fred Warner to cover Chris Olave. He gave him a completion, but he had to chase him across the field. I would love to know anybody else that would even ask their linebacker to do that. Okay, let's watch this play. Playing top down is where they thrive at. So this is the no cover zone. Anything from here on down, like they want you to throw that, and they will take away all these deeper routes. Over the course of a possession, over the course of a series, over the course of a game, these no cover zones, like these routes underneath, they don't matter. So playing top down and being able to close on this pass is one thing. Being able to break it up is another. You see the violent hit. Like he, I think, has taken his game to another level, which is kind of insane to say because he was already the best. But over the past 3 weeks, I just don't know what else he can do but Like if I were to vote for the most valuable player on the 49ers defense, as good as he is, I know he just won the freaking Defensive Player of the Month award. It's 54. The things that they put on his plate are insane. Like it shouldn't be fair, but he does it. He does everything well. And I mean, he had a save later in this. Sorry, a save. I'm in World Cup mode. He had a pass breakup that looked like a goalie save. He was all over all game. Just an impressive player. That it's a shoo-in for All-Pro. All right, this is the last play that I want to show, and I could show 17 more of these, but 4th and 1. Again, the Saints were living on this side of the ball. Sorry, on this side of the field. Did not matter because they did not score. So they're trying to run a trick play here. They're going to try to get their tight end on a throwback. So they're going to try to fake the run action, get the 49ers sucked up, and hopefully one of these two collide. And that way one of these two are streaking on the other side. So he's going to cross the field. They get exactly the look that they want. The Saints, that is. Instead, you know how mad you'd have to be, how frustrating it would be to think, you know what we're going to do? We're going to trick the 49ers on this play. And we're going to throw it at Fred Warner on 4th and 1. Like, what are you thinking? What made you think that would work? Pass gets broken up. I'm sure it probably was intended to Warner's man, but I just think their discipline is nuts. Watch the linebackers. Everybody does their job. Doesn't bite. And Aziz could easily be chasing the field thinking, I got to go over here. I got to go over here. I got to cover the uncovered receiver. Nope. He does his job. Not worried about it. Dre Greenlaw bites on the action, but gets right back to where he needs to be and cuts this receiver off. So there's nowhere to go. And naturally, there's pressure because there's always pressure when the 49ers are playing. But Fred Warner's really who makes this play. Gets a jam and then stays with the tight end there. Just all around, honestly, this defense is nuts. This defense is lights out. And they're going to have to be over these next few weeks. They are playing some very good offenses, but that's going to be the case in the playoffs too, right? So if anything, this was a good primer for the playoffs. I thought the Saints had some really good wrinkles. Goes back to the defensive line, though. This time, this is Kerry Hyder. First time we've mentioned Kerry Hyder, he gets a win. They don't get a sack, get a QB hit, though. But Bosa launches himself, and they get a penalty. But I think the process is what I'm showing here. I'm going to go out on a limb and say 97 isn't going to commit this more often than not. But looking forward to this week, I think the Dolphins are a great matchup. I think the 49ers are going to win just because they're so much better in the trenches. But the speed that the Dolphins present are unlike anything that the 49ers have seen this week. So please like this. Subscribe to my channel if you're not. Comment. Let me know if there's anything else you want to see. I appreciate it. But I will be back next week to break down the offense and the defense. And hopefully it's a 49ers dub.